guys, hope you're all well. Today I thought we'd make a nice little pendant. I've just got a new cutter from the lovely Sarah, which I fancied using. There's a link to Sarah's shop. It's called Happy Hands, in my description. So I wanted to use this funky cutter, and this is what I fancy doing. So this top piece is just going to be black clay, and then this band through the middle, I initially thought about using a bit of foil, but I think what I'm going to do is, in the last video I was grating baked clay, wasn't I, to add speckles. So I thought we'd just grate a little bit of raw clay, so we'll have a black background with a little bit of a silver speckle running through for this little band. And then for this bit, we're just going to make a really simple cane by getting 2 strips of colour. I'm going to use some black Sculpey Premo. I'll just show you the label. So I'm going to use Sculpey Premo black, and I'm going to use some Cernit metallic. So we're just going to get a couple of strips of colour and roll them up together to make a little spiral cane, and then we'll make a little veneer out of that, and we can make some little earring, make a little pendant, maybe fasten it up with a cord or something. So I'll go and condition some clay. I'll just do it on 0 on my pasta machine, and we'll do a backing in probably just in black to back it on again on a 0 setting. So we've got a nice substantial pendant. So I'll go and get some clay prepped, guys, and then we'll come back and do our little pieces. See you in a minute. Hi guys, okay, I've got a strip of black and a strip of silver. I just thought we'd do our little cane first. We just line these up, then I know I can. I'm just going to cut mine about 2 inches thick. We don't need it a massive cane of it, guys. Well, you can have as much as you want, of course. I'm just going to trim this down so it's the same size for each piece, and we will go back and condition some more clay, guys, for the rest of the work. I just wanted to do this bit of a cane first. So yeah, I'm just doing mine about 2 inches thick, and it's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inches long. And again, entirely up to you guys how you want to make this. So I'm just going to do a simple swirl. I'm going to put a bit of a twist on it. I've just got one of my square purrs here. Again, I use a paintbrush, use a skewer, the end of a ruler, whatever. It's just, I grabbed this. What I'm just going to do is just put some lines into this, just to distort it a little bit, if that makes sense. So it's not a perfect round smooth shape. It's going to be a little bit winky wonky, if that makes sense. So when we smush them together, it should give us a nice bit of, oh, cat fluff, a nice bit of a deformation in the cane rather than it being perfect. So I'm just putting some lines across. It doesn't matter how you do it. I just want it to go through and give me a bit of a wobbly line really, rather than that perfect thing. So that's all I'm going to do. I've just put some indents in it, and I'm going to put my silver on top of my black. Let's pop that little bit of a corner on, and I think I will just flatten my end a little bit to get the roll going. Just take that bit of scrap off. I forget my blade underneath now. And I want black. I want black on the outside, guys, so I'll just give that a little roll to make sure I've got nowhere trapped. And I'm just going to start rolling this up like so, and I'll just soften that edge over just to meet the other bit of black. So I know I've got a full black outline on it, and I'll just reduce it a little bit, not much, mainly to just make sure that the air's out, although we're turning it into a veneer, guys, so you know, you can sort any issues out as you go in. Give that a roll to it. Oh, picked a bit of silver up there, get off. Just give that a little roll to make sure it's an even circle, and I'll just pop that to one side to sit while we make our little I'm just gonna, oh, get off, a bit of black. I'm just gonna scrumple this together, make a little block for grating. We'll only need a tiny bit, guys. Let me just get this together, and then I can sit it to one side. Before we grate it. Okay, so we've got our little cane, we've got our little block for grating, and all we need to do now is condition enough black clay for our backing, and I'll probably just make one pendant, guys, so I'm not going to do a great deal. Enough black clay for our backing, and we need a little strip for our grated clay, and we need a piece for the top of our pendant. So we don't need a great deal, just enough backing and then half again. So I'll go and condition a little bit more clay, and I'll use my backing sheet and make a backing. I'll do them both on a 0. So I'll see you in a minute. Okay, guys, I've got enough to do the top part of my pendant, and to make that little stripe we need to sprinkle a little bit of grated clay on. Just going to pop that to one side a second, and I've also done some on my backing sheet. Just put that scrap of paper to one side. So what I thought we would do first is get our little veneer going. So I'm just going to cut the slither end of that off, because you know how I feel about waste. There is a bit of an air bubble in there, but I'm not going to worry about it. I think my silver clay is was quite dry because I used a few bits that were left up. So I'm just going to cut myself some slithers, roughly the same size. We'll make a little veneer, enough to cover the base, and we'll probably just pop it through the pasta machine, guys. So I'm just going to position these up against each other. I've got a couple of little bubbles, but I'm not going to worry about it. I just cut another couple of pieces. So much I need. Okay, let's pop a piece up there and a piece there. I'll just give them a little roll with my roller, just to get the shape going. I'm just going to give them a little squish to make sure them holes fill in. They should be okay. And I've got plenty for what I want to do there, guys. So I'm just going to give it a little roll first, just to get them joints together, and give it a flip. Do the same on the other side, just to help them joints really. And then I'm just going to pass it through my pasta machine on a 0 setting, just to get it an even thickness. So I'll just see you in a sec. Okay guys, so I've got my little veneer here. I'm just going to pop that to one side a second while we bring this in. Now I know I need enough to go across that point there. Just making sure my clay's wide enough. So I'm just going to cut a piece off for our grate, and everything's going to get a really good burnish, guys. I'll do that at the end. Right, for this bit I've just got one of these like zester graters. They're just really cheap graters. I got mine off Amazon. It's the one for peel, I think. And I'm just going to grate a little bit of silver clay over my clay. Can you see those little speckles? And all I do to clean this, guys, is I just use an old paintbrush, and I just brush it over the bin, and it gets all the little bits of clay out. It's really handy. Okay, so we've got our speckles. I've got a bit of a clump there. Just get that out. I'm just going to pat that in with my finger initially, just to make sure that no loose bits come off. And you know, you can add a bit more if you want, guys. I just want mine reasonably subtle, just a little speckle. I just press that in with my finger, and then I'll just pick it up and clean up the mess. Then I don't get it on anything else. I just get them loose bits off that edge, then it doesn't again make a mess on anything else. There we go. Right, so we've got the top part we need for our pendant. Just make sure that line's nice and straight. In fact, I'm just going to give it another trim to ensure it is nice and straight. Then I'll bring our speckle in, and again I'm just going to trim that edge to make sure that it's lovely and straight, and I'll get that butted up against the black. Just trim off the excess that I don't need, and then we can bring in our veneer. I think I'll just cut it across there, and again just bring that in, butt it up. Beautiful. Right, now we need a nice scrap of paper for burnishing. I'll just pop this. In fact, I'll do it that way, then I know it covers most of it. Get my little tool, and I'm just going to give this a nice burnish, just to make sure that them joints are joined. And of course, guys, you know, you want a really lovely finish on your pendant. I had a lady ask the other day, why am I rubbing my clay with a bit of paper? I don't think she realised what we actually do when we do this. So I'm hoping I explained it well enough for her. There, that should be beautiful now. We can barely see the joint in the black. Okay, so now we need to get it on our backing sheet. Making sure that I've got it in a decent enough position. I will just pop my paper back over, just give it a slight rub just to make sure that it's bonded to that backing. Not a lot of pressure, guys, just, you know, gentle pressure. In fact, I'm going to do it a little bit more. Can you see? I've just got a ripple in my clay. Must have been when I picked it up, just across that black. So I'll just give that an extra burnish, just to make sure. There we go. Okay, let's get this off the backing. Bring in our cutter. I think I'll just have it to the bottom of this little piece. I'm just going to have it sneaking onto our veneer. And luckily with these little bit of lines in the cutter, I know it's lined up really well. A little wiggle to make sure that that's gone through. Oh, that looks fabulous. Right, let's get this backing away. Do you know, I might just, because there's a lot of that left, isn't there? I might just do something with those bits, but let's concentrate on this one first. Just going to move that little bit of smushed clay from that edge, then I don't pick it up. And I think I might dome this a little bit, guys. Just pop it on one of my moulds. That middle in itself is quite pretty, isn't it? Okay, let's get that middle pushed out. I'll just get rid of a few little, there's only just a couple of crumbs. That Sarah's cutters, I've got such a lovely clean edge on them. I just want to make sure there's nothing untoward stuck to it. Okay, I'll just pop that down. There we go. And I can just see a little bit of clay on the inside. So I'm just going to get a little smoothing tool, if I can find one, that is. I'll use this ball tool. No, I won't, it's too big. Just going to get that little tiny bit of clay there. And there's a tiny little bit there too. So I'll just give it a smooth with my little stylus or whatever they're called. And then I know that edge is lovely. Okay. So there's that pendant. And I'm loathed not to... That is lovely, isn't it? Need to do something with that. Right, what can we do with this scrap? If I cut that bit off. To make sure I've got double thickness through that. That could have a few bits on. Right, I'll have a little faff with these bits, guys, and maybe make another pendant. But for the time being, I'll just get this in the oven, and I'll see you in a sec. Hi guys, we're out the oven. There's the pendant. Just need a little bit of a sand on the edges, nothing drastic. And I made a flat one, exactly the same. I just used a different sort of cutter, and again that just needs a little bit of sanding. The surface is really good, so I'll probably just go over with my shiner and then give it a buff on the Dremel once I've just took those rough edges off. I'll go and do that, and then we'll come and string everything up. See you in a minute. Hi guys, all done. There's that one, and there's that one, nice and shiny. Just be careful when you're putting your bands together, guys. I've just got a little, I could sand it more and get rid of it, but I've just got a little lip Doesn't make much of a difference to the pendant, but it's not as flush as I would normally like it. Right, so I've dug out some findings. I'm just going to put this on a simple silver pinch bail with a little cord. We'll do that one first. I think it's been a while since I've actually done this with ears in it, so I thought I would, and I need that about there. So guys, it's not the best noise in the world, that is it. Just go through the other side, make sure that the hole is nice and clean. There we go. Rid of them crumbs. And it's just a simple pinch bail. I just have to make sure I've got it the right way around because there's a stamp on the back of it. Pop that side in. Pop that side in. Pinch. So we've just got that lovely simple pendant. And I'll just pop it on one of these ribbon and cord choker style things. Not chokers, you know what I mean. Let's just pop that through there. Oh, got stuck. Okay. So there's one pendant on a nice ribbon with a pinch bail, and then this one is, I've just got some good quality satin cord. I'll just reel a bit off. I don't want this to be too long, so I'm just going to do it about, let's see, I think I'll do a 20-inch. There we go. Just so it'll just sit nice, just under the collarbone. And I've just dug out some really simple cord clasps. Oh, I don't need too many. And I've just got some black jump rings and lobster claw, or whatever they're called, lobster clasps. Let me find my little pliers. And these are really simple to do. You could put a little speck of glue if you're concerned, but I find that these don't really go anywhere. And you just trap the cord in like so. Give it a nice tight squish. Same on the other end. They can be a little bit fiddly, but with some decent pliers you're fine. And if you've got a little bit of cord sticking out, you can always flash it with your lighter or similar. So that's them. Jump rings. Two of them. One of them. And I'm doing them all on black to silver would be fine. Doesn't really matter which you use, you know, just colour coordinate with whatever you've used. I was just thinking actually this would look beautiful with a copper metallic, or even a red or a white clay, wouldn't it? You know, you don't have to use metallics. There we go, one jump ring with the lobster clasp on. Give it a little wiggle and a squeeze to make sure it's flat. Oh, let's get this one on. Oh, I didn't have hold of that very well, did I? There we go. A wiggle. Little squeeze. And I'm just going to simply, let's get these the same length. I'm just going to simply pop this through. Do my little twist trick where I hold the cord down, give it a turn, pull the cords back through, and it just gives you that little locking knot at the top. I just get that wriggled down, then I can get it to go either side of the point. Come on, there we go. And of course you could put a little accent bead on the top of there, guys, you know, whatever your little heart desires. I just want to get that cord sat centrally. There we go. So a lovely simple pendant on a little satin cord, and one with a nice pinch bail and a black rope and ribbon cord. There we go, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. I know I've been doing quite a bit of faux stuff lately, haven't I? So I thought I'd just make us some nice little pendants, something a bit different. Okay, I shall see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.